Welcome and good evening to the Lewiston City Council meeting for Monday, March 25th, 2013. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Will be led by Chief Steve Orr.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item of business is citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for citizens to address council on agenda items or other items you wish to bring to the attention of council. You're encouraged to discuss operational issues in advance with the city manager. In consideration of others wishing to speak, please try to limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Is there any citizens' comments this evening? I think you're all watching basketball tonight. So we'll move on to the next item. Presentations and public hearings. First item of business we have is a proclamation for Fair Housing Month for April 2013. Whereas this year marks the 45th anniversary of the passage of the Fair Housing Act, the landmark legislation signed into law on April 11, 1968, that prohibits discrimination in the sale, rental, and financing of housing based on race, color, national origin, sex, and as amended, disability or family status. And every April, people across the country are encouraged to learn more about their rights and responsibilities under the Act as part of the National Fair Housing Month. And more than 10,000 people filed housing discrimination complaints last year, most from persons with disabilities, according to an annual report released this month by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. HUD also found that race-based housing discrimination was the second most frequent reason individuals filed complaints. It is unlawful to discriminate in the sale, rental, or financing of housing. Now, therefore, we, the City Council of Lewiston, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2013 as Fair Housing Month in the City of Lewiston and urge all residents of our community to personally adopt the spirit of equal housing opportunity and adhere to the letter and character of the fair housing laws. We have Mr. Hiram Hibbert here to accept. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Hiram Hibbert. My address is 1722 5th Street, apartment number 4, Lewiston, Idaho. To help protect yourself and the rights of others by attending the Idaho Fair Housing Conference in this April. This conference is for housing providers, managers, realtors, housing advocates, government personnel. Learn how to comply with fair housing and lending laws, avoid costly litigation. You can also attend this presentation as a consumer and learn what your rights are when buying, renting, or owning a new home. This conference is also for anyone interested in learning about fair housing, the history of that fair housing in Idaho, support animals and reasonable accommodations, and fair lending. This conference will be held from noon to 5 p.m. on Wednesday, April 3rd. And it will be held at the Lewiston Community Center and co-sponsored by the City of Lewiston. And we thank the City of Lewiston for granting us this proclamation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item of business is a public hearing. It's PY 2012 Cdbg Action Plan Amendment, accepting testimony to reprogram funds for reimbursement of it for administrative expenses.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. This one's pretty straightforward. The reason that we're here tonight is that The city's CDBG Citizen Participation Plan, as outlined in the consolidated plan, requires an amendment to be made to an action plan if we're to spend more than 15% of a budgeted amount for an activity. And we budgeted about $4,600, including projected program income for administrative expense reimbursement for program year 2012. And what we're proposing to do as our next consolidated plan is due this summer. We really wanted to do the draft entirely in-house, but due to lack of available staff hours and a looming deadline, we found it necessary to hire a consultant to assist with drafting the new consolidated plan. And since HUD allows grantees to spend up to 20% of our annual award plus program income towards administrative expenses for the program, we're well within our limit. Right now, we're currently allowed $52,800. We wish to program the $36,286 in program income that we've received this program year, as well as reprogram $14,000 from SNAP for 2012 admin. This will allow the city to be reimbursed for CDBG program expenses such as postage and advertising, and also to hire a consultant to assist with the consolidated plan. None of the activities programmed for the current program year will be significantly affected by the proposed amendment because the majority of funds would be coming from program income rather than the annual award. Also, SNAP had about $11,500 left from last year due to the projects coming in under budget. The 30-day public comment period started March 11th, and it runs through April 10th. And a display advertisement was published in the Tribune on Sunday, March 10th, which summarized the proposed amendment and provided details of the public comment period, including where to send written comments. Details and the address are also posted on the city's website at www.cityoflewiston.org. And staff requests council's approval of the amendment to the 2012-13 action plan.
Okay. Council have any questions of Ms. Botticher at this time?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilor Randall.
The only thing I was looking at, the city of Lewiston expects to receive $228,000 for the community block grants. But they also, it says here on page 5 that their city will attempt to leverage other funds from state and local resources whenever possible. Caution us to be careful about not crossing the line on the Idaho Constitution where it forbids us to spend state money on religious buildings and stuff like that. We might be on thin ice if we do that.
Okay.
So we need to check into that and make sure we don't spend the money the wrong way.
Okay.
Would you like me to comment on that?
It was spending money on supposedly religious buildings. I think though some of the programs allow, say, overnight housing for transients or whatever, could go to a facility that's ran by a religious organization or ecumenical organization. I know that's allowed.
That's just a concern. I didn't want us to get in trouble and not lose some funding because of it.
And we're audited every year too, aren't we?
We are. Well, we have a monitoring visit by HUD about every 3 years, but also we check with them on if there's ever any question in whether or not the activity that we're proposing is eligible. We check with HUD directly. But a couple of the, he might be referring to the Salvation Army, I'd imagine. And the activity that's proposed for this program year, possibly extending into the next year, is the Hygiene Center. And we've had discussion with Salvation Army, and the requirement is that they can take the CDBG funds, they just can't make any condition of accepting help using for the Hygiene Center or for the soup kitchen. They can't attach any conditions that they attend services, that they worship or anything like that. Right. But they can come into the soup kitchen, even though it's run by a religious organization, or use the Hygiene Center that they're proposing to build there.
Okay.
There are no strings attached.
No strings attached, exactly. Yeah.
Open to anybody.
Yeah, but we are pretty careful about that because a lot of the organizations that we partner with are religious organizations. They're the ones that come forward and they want to help the homeless and feed the hungry, and so we do work closely with them.
I wasn't really so much concerned with federal, although there is probably restrictions there, but it's definitely in our state constitution, so we have to be careful on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions of Ms. Bodicher? Okay. We'll go ahead and open this hearing for testimony for anybody that is for or against the reprogramming of funds for reimbursement of administrative expenses. Is there anyone that wishes to testify this evening? Seeing no takers, we'll go ahead and close this public hearing. Any final comments, Ms. Bodicher?
I have none.
Okay, so any action tonight, or you'll be coming with us with something, or do we need to approve?
Yeah, we're just asking for your approval.
Approve the amendment.
Yeah.
Council, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Cdbg action plan amendment for reimbursement of administrative expenses as outlined.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Cdbg action plan amendment. Is there any discussion by council? Hearing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and for the record, we do have Councilor Stevenson with us by telephone, speakerphone here. Next item of business is the consent agenda. Is there any items that councilors wish to pull off the consent agenda at this time? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to read the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we read the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to read the consent agenda. Is there any discussion by council? Hearing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Approving the minutes of the March 4th, 2013 work session and the March 11th, 2013 regular meeting. Accepting the minutes of the March 6, 2013 Joint Transportation Advisory Commission and Planning and Zoning Commission. Approving Resolution 2013-10 by title only. A resolution pursuant to Idaho Code Section 67-2808-2 declaring the intent of the City Council to award a sole source contract to Control System Technology Incorporated for equipment, installation, and software of a computer controller, motor controller, and variable frequency drive at the water treatment plant and providing an effective date. Approving the vouchers, approving the vouchers payables for March 1, 2013 through March 14, 2013 in the amount of $1,547,421.55, and this excludes payments to Albertsons, Han Rental, and Han Supply.
Okay, council, the consent agenda has been read. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion by council? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. We'll move on to the active agenda. First item of business is approving vouchers payable to Albertsons from March 1st, 2013 through March 14th for $6.97. I'll entertain a motion to approve vouchers payable to Albertsons with Councilor Daniel abstaining for conflict of interest.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve vouchers payable to Albertsons for $6.97. Is there any discussion by council? Hearing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0 with Councilor Daniel abstaining for conflict of interest. Next item of business is vouchers payable to Han Rental and Han Supply for invoices through March 1st through March 14th, 2013 for the amount of $739.93. I'll entertain a motion to approve vouchers payable to Han Rental, Han Supply for $739.93, with Counselor Kleberg abstaining due to conflict of interest.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve vouchers payable to Han Rental, Han Supply. Is there any discussion by council? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0 with Counselor Kleberg abstaining for conflict of interest. We'll move on to unfinished and new business. City councilor comments. Are there any city councilor comments this evening?
I have a couple of advertisements this evening.
Councilor
Mayor,
Ortman.
if I may. This is the weekend that Pride and Prejudice opens at the Civic Theater, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. That's the next to last main stage show of the year. A little bit later than that, we're having Legally Blonde being presented and sponsored by local attorneys and hairstyling firms, which will be fun for all of us. And there are 2 summer programs for children that will be presented. One, Jackie Haight is working on. This will be her 25th year doing that particular program. And then Mel Severson will have a version of Annie. It's called Annie Jr. that will be presented this summer. And for those of you who haven't already heard the good news about what we were able to secure for next year will open with Fiddler on the Roof and end with Les Miserables. And in between, the best children's pageant ever, and Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and the straight play Harvey. It should be a good season, so I invite all of you to connect if you like. But starting this Thursday, March 28th through April 14th is Pride and Prejudice. The second thing is a renewed comment on my part to advertise a little bit for the Valley Veterans Flagpole Project, and to extend congratulations to Chief Orr and to Noel Abbott for their efforts so far. Even with taking the expenses out of it, they're over halfway through the project. There are posters like this all around the community where you can rip off the card, send it in to honor a veteran in your family, to honor yourself if you like. But that program is moving well. I'd like to see the flagpole funded in the next couple of weeks. I think it can be done. People have asked, well, why does a flagpole cost $5,000? It's not an ordinary flagpole. It's a flagpole that comes with the floodlights, that comes with the security system that we want for that side of the library. That's a particularly dark place, and we want to be able to display the flag in the night hours. So I think it will serve the purpose well for all of us, moving along well, and encourage participation.
Any other city councilor comments? Councilor Kleberg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's coming up not this weekend, but next weekend is the cleanup
For downtown.
downtown.
Right.
So I just want to remind people that they'll be advertising. The other thing I'd like to talk about, which kind of goes under advisory board and commission appointments too, is we're still looking for a member of the community from the area city impact for the Planning and Zoning Commission. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is there actually is going to be a public hearing this week. There's a potential change of use that will require it's a comp plan amendment, but for sure a conditional use out in Tammany Creek, where an applicant has decided that he wants to change a horse riding arena into a bullet storage factory, which that's fine. I'm not even talking about the merits of the project, but because we do have a lot of people living out there in Tammany Creek and it's in their backyard, I would behoove people to think about volunteering to be on the Planning and Zoning Commission if they have the time. It's 2 meetings a month, and we need somebody from the area city impact. I think there's great need for it, and we'd sure like the input from out there. So that's all I got.
Okay. Any other councilor comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Randall.
we received in our packet a letter asking us if we would like to nominate a high school marching band. I recommend that the city manager send a letter of inquiry to our local school district to see if they'd like their high school band nominated, and we can take care of that the first meeting of April.
Okay. Mr. Bennett, if you would, please. Yeah, I received that letter, and I thought that just to see if there's interest on council, I had it copied to all your packets, so it's kind of where I was headed with that. All righty. We'll see if there's additional interest. Any other city councilor comments this evening? I'd like to thank the councilors for spending 6 hours of your Saturday going over budgets with staff, and thanks staff also for your time. I think we had some very good discussions. It's just the start of the process. I think that we're going to have some challenges this year, no doubt. But with some of the groundwork that we laid out and some of the expectations that we voiced, I think that we have a good start on our budget process. So just stay tuned for more things to come. Like I said, we're working on numerous things. I did talk with, sent an email to the airport manager, Robin Turner, and he is getting the information to see what it would cost to keep the airport terminal or the airport tower open. I know the community of Walla Walla has paid for their own tower for a number of years now, I think at least 5 or 6 years. And so anyway, he's going to get some costs there to see what that is. I just think that's good information, whether you support it or not. I think it's information moving forward that we need to look at. So I know there's a lot of folks that strongly feel that it's a big part of our economic development, and I agree. But with dwindling tax resources and a lot of demands on other things like our streets, which are really asking for more attention now, that I think we've really got to sit down and, as a council, look at our priorities and try to discern what is best for our citizens. So anyway, more to come on that, and Councillor Kleberg.
Yeah, to follow up on that, I happened to catch a little bit of the local news before the meeting, and actually they're slating the closure for May 5th, I believe, not April 1st. Just for your information.
Okay, thanks. And I did send out to councilors for your information the closure list. That should be in your email. If not, let me know and I can point you to the FAA website. Mr. Bennett, any city manager comments this evening?
No, nothing this evening.
Okay. Advisory board and commission appointments. Any second bite at the apple, Councilor Kleberg?
Just, you know, area city impact, planning and zoning commission.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Solid
Councilor
waste
Randall.
has some openings too. So,
Solid waste, okay.
So if somebody's interested in the solid waste committee, they're very welcome to apply.
Okay, very good. I just got to echo Councilor Kleberg's statement, and I think that you can't sense the frustration he had because it's been over a year now. We've tried to fill that position.
Oh, more than that.
2 years.
Yeah,
And
every bit of that. Well,
Or-
since Frank and
Yeah.
Kristen.
Left. Yeah, so probably 3 or 4 years. And it's, I agree, it's a very important part of the commission to fill. So if anyone is so inclined, please give City Hall a call and let them know that you're interested, and we'll get you the information. Any other advisory board and commission appointments this evening? Okay. Work session agenda topics. Any additional work session agenda topics to get on the schedule? Well, seeing none, thank you everyone for coming. This meeting is adjourned.